When we talk about a place command for our dogs, what we're talking about is something that puts them in a designated area, a spot, a cot, a blanket, whatever it might be, and they just stay there. They can sit there, lay down there, stand up, it doesn't matter, stand up, have a toy, do whatever they want to do, as long as they stay in that designated spot. So, this is super helpful to use both in the home and when you go out on the road. In the home, you can use it when you are doing some kind of family event or having dinner or you're in the kitchen, whatever you're doing, the dog can be there with you in your presence. But if he's on his place command, he's just going to chill. He's not going to be underfoot. He's not going to be getting himself in potentially into trouble. So it's super helpful that way. When you're out and about, if you go to the park, you can have your dog place on the park bench. Or if you have a blanket or mat that you can take with you to a cafe, put that down, tell him go to place, and he just chills. So it's a very applicable command, and it's relatively easy to teach it. So what we do is we use, for the teaching phase, the little elevated dog cots. So they're about 4 inches off the ground. Any dog can access it. So when we say go to place, it's very clearly delineated for them. The cot should be big enough for the dog to be able to lay on it comfortably. If his legs are hanging off the edge or his head's hanging off, it's too small. So you want to make sure you have the right size. Once you've got that in place, what you're going to do is use your leash and you're going to use spatial pressure. So we're going to say, go to your place. We're going to either point to it or, well, we're going to point to it because down the road, we want to be able to point to something from a distance. Go to your place. He goes over, he climbs up, he hangs out. And then if he starts to come off the place before you've allowed him to by giving him a command, we're just going to give him that little negative marker, that little no or kind of thing, body block him so that he learns that the parameter is the boundary. He cannot cross that parameter until you say either okay, which means he can choose to get off or he can choose not to, or if you give him a specific off command, he must get off the cot. So we practice it, of course, where there are no distractions, and then we bring in mild level distractions. We do the learning phase all with the same item. So we use the same cot, but down the road, when he knows what it means, you can transfer the skill to other things, which is why you can go to the park bench. You can put him on a piece of furniture. You can tell him to go place on anything that's stable and obviously accessible for him. When do you know that he understands? When you see him towing the edge of the cot in this case. So when you see him kind of leaning on the edge of it, he wants to get off because there's a treat on the floor or a toy on the floor, but he doesn't. He stops his own forward momentum. Now you know he's starting to learn what the command actually means. This is something that doesn't take dogs that long to figure out because we're not communicating the exercise through verbals, since we speak different languages, but we're using spatial pressure. And body pressure is what dogs communicate with each other. So when we block him with your leg or your, whatever you're going to do, not your hand, typically you want to body block him. When you body block him, he understands what that means. That means back off, stay where you are, don't move forward. So it's a very, very clear understanding for the dog because we are speaking his language when we use body pressure that way. And it's one of those easier commands to teach. We use the same approach as far as body pressure when we're teaching threshold manners. It's the same idea. And as a result, dogs learn that type of thing quite quickly. So give it a try. See how effective it is for you, not only in the teaching of it and your dog's learning experience, but also applicable. So when you apply it in the home, when people come in the front door, you can have the item, the place thing set up near the door. Tell your dog to go to place. Don't let him come off the place until your guests are in. Everyone's kind of relaxed, sitting down. Now you can, when the dog is calm, now you can release him from place and he can calmly greet your guests. down the road, if you're really consistent with that, you will find that the dog will hear the bell ring or know that someone's at the door, and he'll actually put himself on place and just hang out and wait for the opportunity to calmly interact with those people. So it's very, very helpful for reactive dogs when you're out walking them. Again, if you're at the park and you see a trigger coming, if there's something you can utilize as a place, you put your dog on place. That puts him 50% of his brain is on the clock, so to speak. So he has to make sure he remembers not to climb off. 50% of his brain is still, scanning the horizon, knows about that trigger, knows that it's approaching, etc. But the place helps him kind of anchor himself. So it's actually very helpful for dogs that are dealing with reactivity because they are only giving half their attention to the distraction, and they're desensitizing at the same time because it's in their presence, but they're able to concentrate on something else, meaning the job at hand, doing the place exercise. So, if you want help with this whole concept of body pressure and the threshold training, I'll put a link in the description below to a video that explains that. If you need help actually conducting this exercise and teaching your dog this command, just reach out to us. We work on this all the time. We actually incorporate it into all of our foundational training for our dogs, no matter what they're in to actually work on. So super helpful. They succeed quickly and easily, so they enjoy it. They also enjoy the movement of getting onto the cot and jumping off the cot. So it's a fun one to practice, and you'll see the results very quickly.